So with Master Choi's way of teaching, he explained everything. He says where he's moving from, what joint is moving where. He used to explain it in terms of physics. He wouldn't say I'm using these mystical powers and all that kind of stuff. No, he would explain it in terms of physics. And so here he's explaining a couple of joints moving with the arm while he's moving his center of mass, while he's mobilizing his center of mass, at the same time creating different vectors with the joints. Now, this kind of thing will not be possible, as the last video showed when that last gentleman tried to do it, when he tried to do it. It won't be possible to do it if you can't relax and if you can't keep openness in the joints, right? So have a look at this. Now, he's asking me, so I'm stopping him, I'm holding his wrist and stopping him from moving his wrist. And this guy's pushing up on his elbow or holding his elbow and stopping him from moving his elbow. So he's being stopped at two different points. And now he's going to mobilize his center. And you see the effect. Yeah, he nearly punched him in the face. You see from a different angle. It's the same thing from a different angle. So that after effect on Kev, you see, his body did get moved, but the after effect that he gave is that compliant thing I'm talking about, right? So my advice is when you watch videos, now first of all, my advice is if you have a teacher that's teaching, again, this term internal that's being thrown around, but if you have a teacher that's teaching internal method, I do recommend that you very politely, don't disrespect them, they are your teacher and you're there to learn from them, but I do recommend, highly recommend, for their own good, very politely do start testing them. Don't just give that tense compliant force. Do test them. Hold with a different type of force. Hold with muscular force. Hold with relaxed force. Do try to stop them. Yeah, so and the other advice I have, if you're watching videos, to look at the person's body that's doing it. So look at the body, see if you can see that where the joints are mobilizing, see if you can see where the power is coming from. I'm not saying to try to see energy or chi flowing through, but just try to see the activeness, the activity in the person's body that's performing, rather than in the receiver's body. Okay, so watch the giver's body rather than the receiver's body, and that will be able to help you in some ways to differentiate the BS stuff from the more real stuff. You see his body was producing power. Here's another one. So this is on me again, and again, I've picked a few videos that are quite. I mean, if you try it at home, they're very hard to produce power from. They're not just pushing the person away like the other guy was doing sometimes. So in a position where you have a blade stance and you push with your back leg and you sort of do the far jin and to push the person away, to throw the person away. These are movements that are like this, where the arm is held up, and it requires openness of the joint to be able to transfer and mobilize mass through the joint, resulting in power. So have a look. A very hard movement. This one's a very difficult movement from that position when your elbow is higher than your shoulders. Extremely difficult. And there he's showing incorrect. So that's what it is. An old man, here he was probably around 78, 79 years old. I was in my mid-20s here, I think, or late 20s. So for sure, from this position, that's what it would look like. If an old man, his size, his age, was doing something to someone my strength, that's what will happen. He wouldn't be able to move me. Yeah. However, if he does it this way, it's not bullshit, guys. It's not BS. It's real stuff. And the way he would teach, he would get us to feel his joints. He would when he's setting someone up, he would ask us to put our hand on their joints. So it's a tangible change in the person's body. When they do it correctly, when they open their joints, it is a tangible change. Meaning, if someone can open their shoulder joint, you should be able to hold their shoulder. So a person can hold someone else's shoulder, and if they can really expand their shoulder joint, you will be able to feel it. I do this thing where I hold my arm in or I can hold a light dumbbell, like a 2 kilo dumbbell, and I can sort of like in a bicep curl position, or like for the ones that do Wing Chun in a Tan Sao position. And then as I'm holding it, I can fully relax my bicep. Now, a lot of people say that's BS. When I say fully relaxed, to a point where if someone's holding it, if someone's holding the muscle, it's not active at all. Now, I'm not saying it's 100% relaxed. The muscle, there's still activity in the muscles, but there's no tension as we know it. The muscle doesn't respond in the way that the bicep muscle should when you're holding a dumbbell. And so what I'm saying is the changes should be tangible. The results shouldn't be in the receiver's reaction. The results should be tangibly felt externally by someone touching your body. So if you can expand your spine or relax your spine, someone should be able to put their hand on your spine, and they can feel it, they can see it, and so it's not a mystical thing at all. That's not how we teach it. That's not how he taught it. Now, another thing is, because we're talking about just being able to retain openness of joints and be able to mobilize joints under direct pressure, then theoretically that should mean that you're able to use it for any movement, not just with another human being. So it should mean that you can lift weights with much less effort. You can do, pull-ups, push-ups, swimming, whatever movement. You should be able to tap into the joints and use the body more efficiently with any movement. And that's quite unique as well to CS. Chu Shong Tin was doing. He was able to do the human flag. He was able to do pull-ups and stuff like that, no problem. And this movement he could do even at an old age. And this movement is the Wing Chun pole. The Wing Chun pole is a heavy pole, right? It's heavy because it's so long, so because of the leverage. So where I'm holding it here, if you were to put this on scales and push down on it, it's probably around 20 kilos, let's say 50 pounds of pressure. So it weighs 50 pounds if you push down on the end of it. If you put it on scale, push down on the end of it, to lift the other end up, it takes, let's say, around 50 pounds of weight. So it's lifting 50 pounds with the arm straight, with the elbow joint and wrist joint. It's not easy to do. And here, this was caught on camera where I was trying to do it. I couldn't do it, and then Chu Shong Tin helped me open up my joint and get my mind in my joint and move from when my shoulder was relaxed, to move from the joints rather than with that kind of brute force, and then I was able to lift it. So let's have a look. Yeah, so I can't lift it at all. I can just slide it on the floor, which is nothing. I wasn't able to lift it up. So that's not, the pole can't be compliant, right? So that's showing the joint power that we can have. Again, just to clarify, this ability of openness of the joint under pressure is in all of the internal arts, I would say. This is my own opinion and Chu Shong Tin's opinion, but it's logical if you think about it. In any internal art, before you talk about chi flow or anything like that, the prerequisite is to be able to keep openness in the joints and be able to mobilize joints under pressure. That's the prerequisite before being able to have something flow through it. Whatever that thing is, we call it chi, whatever you want to call it, if it's intention, energy, whatever it is, but that thing can't flow through if your joints are locked under pressure. It's like a hose that's been blocked. So this is why when I meet people, usually when I meet other practitioners, usually the way we test is very, the way we test just power generation. I mean, I'm not talking about sparring and fighting ability, but here we're discussing power generation of the human body. We're talking about the potential to produce power. Okay, now doesn't mean that someone that can produce power with those joints is able to keep that same openness and keep sort of not get affected by adrenaline dump and by the situation, and they can keep that state in a fighting situation and be able to use that power to crush through the opponent and win a fight. That's a different thing. Here we're discussing power generation, the potential of the human body, which can be used for any movement. Okay, so we're talking about that. Now that person, once they get that ability, they must then do all the necessary extra practices for application, hitting the punching bag, kicking, so pad work, dynamic partner work in Wing Chun Chi Sao, and of course sparring or real street fighting. That without that experience, just because someone's extremely powerful and can move effortlessly, it does not mean they can fight. Let me be clear about that. But this is the I think the difference, where things must be tangibly felt, not just by yourself when you're feeling a joint open, but by someone else. And the proof of it is that you can move under pressure. Yeah. So what I was saying is, when I meet with other practitioners, usually the way we test is like, okay, hold their arm, hold their leg, hold anywhere. If they do, let's say another art, I say, okay, what's a powerful movement that you do in that art? Be it moving your arm forward, down, up, side, whatever it is, with whatever stance they want. And I say, okay, let me try to stop you from moving in that way. And I give direct resistance. And then I try to stop them. And then I say, okay, I'll do the same movement pattern. And now you try to stop me. So that immediately tests the ability of moving the body under direct pressure, not yielding, not going around the force. Of course, if you're mobilizing joints, you are going around the force, but it's still sheer power, i.e. you're able to lift an inanimate object, you're able to pull your body up, you're able to push, etc. And so this guy was asking about the shoulder, and he said, oh, it's nothing. There's nothing in the shoulder. There's nothing. I'm not doing anything. I'm just relaxing. And he gets this guy to hold to see if there's any activation of muscles in that area while he's producing. Again, this is another very difficult movement, to come down on someone's arm. Yeah, so it is nothing. I mean, and it would do. Again, there's a lot of videos like this where here I have my shirt off, so you can see the changes, the opening in the body with his manipulation. So he was there. He was sending relaxation through, and you can see what happens to my back, the way it opens up. So again, it must be tangible, not just the effect on him, because my partner could be just compliant. He could just take a dive. It's not difficult to use coordination and tense up your body and push in such a way to make it look like I injected an explosive force into him. So therefore, we can't look at what happens to him. We should look at what happens in the body. We should look at the person doing it, not the person on the receiving end. So have a look at the back here. Yes, that noticeably opened up. Same movement again. So you can see the changes. You can see how the shoulder blade drops and and opens up, and at the end there, as I moved, you can see here, I tensed up again. It was enough, and he was, I guess, compliant enough, or there was enough force compared to what he was doing for him to move back. But you can see here I tensed up. See how these muscles activated? If we go back a little bit more, now it's not active. It's okay here. There it's a little bit active. I'm not saying that the shoulder should always stay down. Of course, the shoulder blade has movement up and down, but I can see that there is more tension now in this area. This should be, the look of this should be like this side. The ball joint is staying quite open, but this area is not as relaxed as it should be. So And that's it, so we can start to see that there is, guys, this method, again, you can take it with a grain of salt. It's up to you guys to believe it or not, but I came to Hong Kong when I was 21 because I met Chu Shong Tin, and I was just, when you're at the receiving end of what he was doing, it's just ridiculous. It's hard to believe. Like, like this guy's face when he's at the end, he's in disbelief. It's like there was nothing there. Or even, have a look at people's faces, like Black Mountain at the end of it. He's shaking his head, or other people, the way they laugh. It's not BS. It's not like I'm just jumping and laughing to give fake respect, because it's quite remarkable when you feel what a skinny, old, weak man could produce with a body. And you would think, wow, if he could do that, I'm younger, bigger, stronger. Imagine what I could do. So it's a nice bait that he would use. He would use this. He would use these demonstrations and things as like bait, And then when I came to Hong Kong and trained with him, I thought, okay, I'm going to do a lot of, you know, sparring, bag work, all of that. Not that we didn't do that, but I thought it's going to be mainly that. Okay, I want to learn how to fight better. When I came here, I was like, okay, now stand here and practice the slow movements of Silentha. Try to feel your spine. Right now, you don't feel your spine because you're tense. Try to feel your spine. Slowly open up the spine, decompress the joints. And then his teaching was very much hands-on, tactile, and again, it was real. It was tangible. He would make us feel it. And as he's making, let's say on me, he's making me feel it. So let's say in a scenario here, I can feel, because it's my body, it's my muscles, it's my joints. I can feel the contrast from when it's not relaxed compared to when it's relaxed. And he would see it and feel it. I would see it and feel it. People from outside could see it as well. And the person on the receiving end would be able to notice the difference of power when the joint opens. So it was something very real. It wasn't this mystical. He was very adamant about not making it this mystical thing. And just before he passed away, he had cancer the last few years. Doctors gave him 6 months to live. He ended up living 7 years after that with no Western medicine. But anyway, because he couldn't fly when he had the cancer, but he was scheduled to go to Sydney. There was a doctor that was going to set up some fMRIs and other tests to test what this man is doing, test the brain waves, because they do it in yoga for yogis, meditation and stuff, and they're picking up a lot of things in their brains and their bodies, and they want to put Chu Shong Tin under the test, and he immediately jumped at it, said, yes, yeah, let's do it. And then a few months later, he found out that he had cancer, and they advised him, because they gave him 6 months, they advised him not to fly, so he couldn't get it tested. But the point of the story is that he was very scientific. If you listen to his DVDs and stuff like that, he's always trying to use physics in terms of how he's developing its power. And then he says, then there's aspects that he says, look, then there's this Nim Lik, this flow, this thing that he's putting into my spine here. And he says, that I can't explain. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if it's energy, but I'll just call it Nim Lik because I'm using my mind to flow something out here. I don't know what it is. And that's why he was very open to getting himself tested to see if he can find out what it is. So the point is that he's very realistic. He's very, very down to earth with what he understands that he's doing and what he can't understand that he's doing, but he can do anyway, So anyway, this is the Chu Shong Tin method, and there is I hope this video, for the ones that have watched till the end here, I hope you take something from this, and really, if you are training with your teacher, don't be compliant in that way. Don't be compliant. Don't sort of jump away and roll on the floor and do stuff like this, because it's not, yes, it is respectful to your teacher, but it's not good for them. It doesn't keep it real. Again, with this one, absolutely no disrespect to this gentleman or to him. I'm just using this as an example. I'm sure this person has skill, but it's going to be very hard to know his real skill, his real ability, if the people on the receiving end are always jumping and taking a dive. Okay, and what we can do is, do things like this. See if you can lift or hit a bag. See if for the ones that I'm talking to, some of the teachers here now, if you really believe that you have chi flow, and you're, to ensure that you're not kidding yourself, see if you can lift something. See if you can See if you can do hang 20, 30 kilos off you with a weight belt and do some pull-ups. You should be able to do that. Your joints should be able to move under pressure. Uh, Punch a hanging bag. Don't give your partner, don't give your student to hold a bag and punch it. Actually hit a hanging bag, hit a heavy bag, punch and kick a heavy bag to see what happens if you put your so-called or what you believe is chi, put that into the hanging bag and see what result it has. Can you hit hard with it? Can you retain openness, and can the joints keep moving on impact? And that way you're staying true to your art, and that way you're also leaving a truthful path for your students, and it keeps things real. Internal Kung Fu is getting such a shit name, such a bad name. Everyone, Joe Rogan's talking about it, making fun. I mean, there's a lot of 90% plus is laughable, especially the no touch chi and all that kind of stuff. This is all my opinion, but I'm with people like Joe that make fun of it. But there is some real gems in Chinese Kung Fu, the real Chinese Kung Fu, really not just for fighting, but really good for your health. I mean, imagine you can tap into your joints in that way. The difference in here, with his help, how much more power was I able to produce with my joints after he locally helped me relax a little bit. By the way, this is at his school. This pole, I can lift this quite effortlessly now. So this video is probably about 10 years ago it was taken. So yeah, now to lift something even heavier than this is quite effortless for me. So, but he would give me the feeling, and I would work on it until I can gain that same control by myself without his help now. But anyway, guys, that's it. And yeah, as you guys know, I always put at the end of the videos, if you are interested in this method of practice, Chu Shong Tin's method of practice, we have an online school. I have an online school, and basically the entire system, everything, every form, every possible self-training practice, all the forms, sparring, everything I put in weekly videos that are released. And hundreds of people are on it, and there's an online community. So if you don't have a training partner, there's an online community where you can find a training partner that's on the program near you. And there's plenty, especially during the COVID-19 period, there's plenty of self-training exercises. Like when I say plenty, I mean you're getting an average of a few hours a week videos. Some other programs out there give 1 5-minute video per week, whereas on our program we give an average of sometimes 7-8 videos, sometimes 30 minutes long each video. So I go in depth from the beginning, and it's all Chu Shong Tin's teaching. So and as I said, a couple of hundred people on it, and a lot of people, a lot of Tai Chi teachers, a lot of Wing Chun teachers from other lineages and this lineage are also on it. So yeah, it's for beginners, advanced, whatever level you're at. If you are interested in CSD Wing Chun and what Master Choi was teaching, then do check that out. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Cheers.